Tonight, the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, is speaking exclusively to our Komla Kluche. I'm going to bring him in now. Komla, good evening to you. You have been traveling with John Dramani Mahama. Talk to us about the circumstances surrounding how the news was broken to him. What was his initial reaction?
Well, John Mahama has been in the central region. Ostensibly, the agenda or the purpose was for him to introduce the running mates for his 2024 campaign to the Central Regional House of Chiefs. And mind you, the Central Region plays a very pivotal role in the life of the NDC. I mean, for a very long time, the Central Region has played host to giving them the position of the number 2 when it comes to the administration of this country. From the Rawlins's time, Mills became the VP. Then subsequently he became the president, and then Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has also gone up to the step. But we also know that the minority leadership, one is headed by a son of their own, and so the chiefs felt quite compelled to ask why John Mahama was not on the trip, knowing very well that the NDC is kickstarting the campaign in the central region. Well, he did apologize to the chiefs, but did equally assure them that it was not intentional. Of course, today being the final day that Parliament is sitting before they go on break, and we do understand that the House has gone on break now. Just a couple of hours ago, the Speaker had adjourned the House. We get indication, and so they are on vacation now. It was the reason why the minority leader, who is the member of Parliament for the Jumakuenya and Siam constituency, was not able to make it. In fact, not just him, but the Central Regional Caucus, because Parliament was going to take very key decisions, inclusive was that of the affirmative action bill. And so after Mahama had explained to them, then we felt there was a need for us to pose the question to him, just to grab him. And so after he was done,
and indeed, Komla, you say we, but it was only you that the NDC flag bearer and former President John Dramani Mahama spoke to. He gave you his first comments. What did he say? Well,
I mean, in approaching him first, when he was done with the assignment and also had the opportunity to take pictures with the people, I approached him, and I mean, I spoke with him in the crowd and said, "Your Excellency, I need your reaction on the ruling of the appeals court." He said, "Of course, I would grant you that interview." And so when he was done with the people, then said, "Okay, let's do the interview." Then I posed the question, and his response was the fact that this ought not to have been right from the very outset. The fact that the Attorney General, he describes as not a Minister of Justice, but a Minister of Injustice. These are words of John Mahama, because he said it appears as if it's only, political or politics that he seeks in the situation of justice, has been maliciously, going after members of his party.
Indeed, I'm eager to hear. Let's take a listen to that now.
Well, I think that it shows the vindication that he's innocent. We believe that this prosecution should never have taken place. Indeed, it came as a surprise because I had quite forgotten about the appeal. This appeal was made quite a long time ago when they filed a no-case petition before the court, and the High Court, rejected it, and so they went up to appeal. So apparently it's been before the appeal court for quite a long time. So it came as quite a pleasant surprise. But it shows that we still have justice in this country, and that we can work to make the judiciary what we want it to be.
Well, we have seen the AG really indicate that this is a perversion of justice in the interest of public accountability. One, if you were his appointor, what would you have advised him to do at this stage?
Well, I think that this Attorney General has been discredited enough. Anywhere in the world, with the things we've seen and the coaching of witnesses and discussion with witnesses, this prosecution would have been struck out as malicious prosecution. I believe this prosecution is malicious. He is not as, robust and energetic in pursuing cases that are okay. Even just as we're talking, there's an ambulance case involving this present administration, which is hugely larger than what he's prosecuting, and yet he has no interest in that. He is like a legal representative of the MPP party, over enthusiastic in pursuing political opponents. I've said that when we come, it will be the reverse. We will pursue accountability for the regime that has gone out. But at the same time, if any of our people are involved in the same things that have happened for which we're prosecuting the opposition, we would, the previous government would prosecute them too. And so I think that the Attorney General is also the Minister of Justice. He forgets that. He thinks that he's just the Attorney General. The Minister of Justice is supposed to ensure fairness. Anywhere else in this world, this case would have been, he would never even have come to court, not to talk about talking with witnesses, having conversations with witnesses and trying to tell them what to do. Yeah, this case should have truncated long ago.
The critics of yourself and the NDC say that you have suddenly found your voice in reposing some sort of confidence in the judiciary. What's your reaction to this as well?
No, not that we've suddenly found our voice. I do think that despite the issues we have with the judiciary, there are judges who are fair-minded. We're not talking about all judges. In some cases, we criticize judgments. I mean, for instance, to say that your birth certificate cannot be a proof of your identity as a citizen. I don't agree with that judgment. But they pronounce it, and we've abided by it. We sent an election petition, we're thrown out. I said, I respect the judgment of the courts. So we've always respected the judgment of the courts. As president, I can say that I never ever once interfered in the administration of justice. Even though the Chief Justice was a church member of mine, I can say on authority that I never ever discussed one case with her. I left it to the judges, the wisdom of the judges, to make those determinations. In this government, we know and we've heard of manipulation of justice. Judges are called and told what decisions to take and all that. I do think that we give judges tenure, security of tenure, so that they can be fair-minded in what they do. And I'm prepared to work with the judiciary to create the kind of judiciary we deserve. The judiciary is the last arbiter in all the three arms of government when it comes to any dispute. And the judiciary creates an environment for investors to come. If investors believe that they can get a fair hearing in case of any commercial disputes or anything, they will come into your country. Unfortunately, the message that goes out there is that we're able to manipulate our courts against investors. And so sometimes it sends a bad signal for investment. I'm prepared to come as president, work with the Chief Justice, work with the Judicial Council to make sure that we have a judiciary that is fair, that dispenses justice to all without recognition of your political or ethnic color, without recognition of who you are. And so I think that this is a landmark decision. And if I was the Attorney General, I'll just let it rest there. But I hear he says he's going to go to the Supreme Court. It shows how malicious his eagerness to prosecute this case.
John Dramani Mahama is the NDC's flag bearer, and our Komla Kluche brought us that interview. Komla, thank you so much for the fantastic job. We'll end our conversation here. But joining us now is the former president of the Ghana Bar Association, Kweku Asare. Good evening to you, lawyer. Is this decision in the right direction, as many have said?
Yes, I do. It's very fair, given the surrounding circumstances of the trial.
I see, but the AG, on the other hand, The AG, on the other hand, believes it is a miscarriage of justice. What are your thoughts on that?
I will not toe the AG's line. I think that what the AG ought to do to redeem himself, to redeem his image, is to let sleeping dogs lie. The AG has been caught on tape tampering with Japa. And I've had the occasion to say that witness tampering is a wrongdoing under our law. Mind you, the Attorney General, who is the one person with the most say in justice matters, or in matters of justice, will coach a witness how to go and lie, to the court. If in the wisdom of the two wise men or the two wise women, the submission of no case should be upheld, and therefore, they should be acquitted and discharged. If I were the Attorney General, I'll just leave matters as they stand now.
Which makes sense. So was this whole case a waste of time and destined to fail from the get-go?
Oh, no, I'll not say it's a waste of time. It's just that it didn't go the way trials of this nature ought to have gone. And that's what I meant by suggesting that if you look at the political interest in this matter and, the public's attitude towards some of the sayings of the judges in this matter, I would have thought that the Attorney General would strongly advise himself rather than try to go to the five wise men and suffer a humiliation. Or secondly, if he pursues, people will begin to ask questions. What is his interest in the matter? And he is the person who said he was under pressure from the president and the former Minister of Finance, to ensure the conviction of Forson. If I were, him, I would just,
but on the contrary,
he's the principal advisor to the government and the people of Ghana.
Indeed, on the contrary, he plans to appeal this at the Supreme Court. Good move?
Very, very unwise step. I don't know who, is advising him to do that. But if I were in the shoes, I'll take a second look at it. Because I should like to believe that much as I do, that the Supreme Court that we have today, has been is being seen by the public as all too predictable. So he has lost. Therefore, he will go to where he thinks that they will get, they can score a political goal. And such perceptions, can be real, They really don't believe, that justice is being served by the Supreme Court, as it is currently constituted. So
I see.
If just before the election, the court of appeal, has handed down what, to every honest.
But he also cites the Opuni case, which suffered a similar fate. And for that matter, he may be on to something here if he decides to go to the Supreme Court to appeal.
Well, that's why I said, if I were the AG, I would advise myself, I would advise my boss or my bosses that enough is enough. Let's just leave the matter as it is.
Right. So,
we say in law that Daniel has come to judgment. The two wise men and women have said that, this is not a matter that, ought to be pursued further. Let's leave it so that nobody will suggest that the president wants to persecute, his opponent. There's no opponent in this matter.
But speaking of the rule of law, this case appears to have raised the confidence levels in the judges in some quarters, would you say?
No, my comment would be that the judges should continue to be bold, at all times, in order to uphold the independence of the judiciary.